More often than not, we thank God for miracles or for moments of divine providence, but whatever happens to the sort of natural course of our day, the sort of natural daily, the way life, regular stuff, and we tend to forget that even the ordinary, the mundane is actually miraculous. And this is how Rabbi Raphael, the angel Birdugo, wants to begin the Torah portion of Tazria, right, the woman that conceives. He starts again with, this time from Job, actually rarely not from King David, a verse from Job, which is going to teach us a lesson about how we should be viewing the world. And the verse says, you granted me life and were kind to me, and your ordinance protected my spirit. Okay, so you were kind to me, you did chesed with me and granted me life. And Rabbi Raphael wants to teach us something. He says, and he has a beautiful saying, v'yesh litkoa emunah zo belibenu. We must pin this matter of faith onto our hearts. And what does this matter? He says, there are things that happen in life. For example, during the day it is light and at night it is dark. We can stand, God willing, on 2 feet. We see. But he says, even the natural world, none of it would have happened. This whole world wouldn't have happened without God's inscrutable will. Without God's will, the ratzon, the initial seminal point in which God has the will to create this world, not by necessity, but out of will. As a result, everything in the natural world is miraculous. And this is also why, when we read the blessings in the morning, right, Rabbi Raphael says, why do we bless all of these mundane things, like thanking God for letting us, see this and see that, right? Birkot HaShachar. There are a lot of mundane blessings there. They shouldn't even be blessings because it's natural, obvious things. But this is what we need to pin to our hearts. This idea that God's inscrutable will created the world, and as a result, we must even bless the mundane. And this is why the beginning of our prayers in the morning begins with the mundane, because not to look at the miracle, but to look at the obvious. And then he says another wonderful thing, and this connects to the Torah portion. He says, there's another natural aspect of life, and that is that if you want something good, you got to work hard. That's just the way the world works. You want a good job, you want a good this, you have to work hard for it. And Rabbi Raphael says, but this is not the case when a couple have a baby, when a woman gives birth. Think about it. For a person to get the greatest gift, which is the gift of life, which gives them this world and, if they behave themselves, the world to come, a person is born just like that. Right? Just like that. And this is the verse where he says, when Job says, you granted me life and were kind to me. This chesed that you did with me is that you went against the natural world. By babies being born and not having to hopefully struggle, but simply being naturally born, being given the chance to get this world and the world to come. And he says, where is this alluded? It's alluded in a beautiful verse, in the very first verse of this Torah portion, where it says, speak to the children of Israel, saying, when a woman conceives and gives birth. And he says, why does it have to say when a woman conceives? You're going to love this. Why does a woman conceive and give birth? Why not just say when a woman gives birth, right? Get to the bottom line. She gives birth, and then is it a boy, a girl, what happens? By saying conceives Tazria, we're actually talking about sex. Rabbi Raphael is saying to us, think of how miraculous it is that if this idea in the world you need to work hard to get something, bringing one of the most precious gift in the world comes by the enjoyable act of sex. Right? This is the chesed. This is the chesed that God is doing with us. What other rabbis will speak this brilliant stuff? So this is thoughts on the Torah portion of Tazria, thanking God for the natural aspects, and of course this through this word Tazria, implying, hinting to sex and the contrary way in which we acquire the most precious things. God does with us chesed, compassionate with us, by allowing us through the act of sex to acquire the most precious gifts in our lives. Shabbat Shalom from Rabbi Raphael Birdugo.